Welcome to this week's edition of HawkTalk. I'm Seth Morkirky, joined by Parker Robinson and Coach Stanton here. We're going to do kind of a recap of the year, kind of go through some sports, go through some school stuff. So maybe we'll let Parker maybe ask a question here.
Yeah, before we get into everything, for your staff on the football side of things, going through some changes, we're going to see some new faces on the sideline next year. Talk a little bit about what that process has been like this spring.
Yeah, we're excited. With where we're heading with our changes. Our of course, losing Coach Schillinger and then Coach Walker during the spring was an adjustment, especially for our offensive guys during the spring. But I think they did a great job of getting through with that. But Coach Thier is going to be on the defensive side of the ball, and he was able to get here through spring ball. And Coach Miller and myself and Coach Thier and Coach Cook will be on the defensive side of the ball. Then we have two new coaches coming in with a vast experience. Coach Russell McCarville, who is originally from Glendive and has a big background and been a high school head coach at a couple different places and been successful as an offensive coordinator. And then Coach Michael McGuire from Bighorn, Wyoming, same boat, been very successful as a high school coach, won several state championships here over the last 4 or 5 years and has a good background. Both of them have been college coaches at one time as well. So I think our guys are really going to be excited about those two coaches coming in on the offensive side of the ball.
Yeah, we had Coach Thier on a couple weeks back, bringing some excitement and some new eyes. What does that do for the program, having a new set of eyes?
Oh, it's always great to have that. You always, as a program and as a coaching staff and as a person, you always want to make yourself better and do what you can do to make yourself better. And I think that's what, by having Coach Thier in, we're able to bounce some ideas off. We're able to retain a lot of our current ideas, but also add some ideas as well and bring another guy in who's, had been experienced as a defensive coordinator and bring some new ideas and new vision. And that's always good to improve as a program and improve as a person.
Yeah, for sure. We had a pretty strong winter, a pretty good spring. Moving into the summer, what's important for, the team and then going into the fall?
Oh, I think it's really, summer is where you really win. For the fall, I think it's as you said. I think we had a tremendous winter, and the spring was we had some weather, but everybody has that. But I think the big important thing is the guys just really taking some time now it's a long year and everybody's going through finals, and take a couple of weeks just to get yourself feet set again and start in on their summer jobs. And then once Memorial Day is over, then that's when we really expect our guys to get after it. And we go in two phases. We go a June phase where they're going to go 4 to 5 weeks and really hit it hard with conditioning and lifting and so forth. And our guys are really dedicated. There's 50 of them here that have been here the last couple summers, and they're working their summer jobs plus doing their their things before and after their jobs. And then we take a break over the 4th of July and then come back 4 more weeks, and several of our other guys join us. And I think that's just really important. For one, you're working. I think for two, that continuity. We do a lot of team things together that led by our seniors, and I think it's really good for our continuity. Going into the fall, football's changed so much, and a lot of sports for that way have changed. I think that it used to be, hey, let's use 2-a-days to get everybody in shape and see where everybody's at, and that's just no longer the case anymore. We have them ready throughout the summer, and when we come in the 2-a-days, really it's a lot of execution and things is not as much conditioning like it used to be.
Yeah, looking forward to that fall season. A little preview, with Jamestown leaving the conference, it adds a different element of playing a lot of teams twice within the conference. How difficult is that, and how do you have to prepare?
Yeah, it is going to be a change, and especially the way our schedule rolled out this year. I mean, we're going to have a very difficult schedule. You look at the two top teams besides us the last couple of years have been Valley City and Dakota State. So now we'll be playing Dakota State twice, and our seniors didn't think they're going to be making the one more trip to Dakota State, so they're going to be doing that, and we'll play a team that we've battled really hard the last couple of years, Dakota State, so we'll be playing them twice, and then to make a trip out to Waldorf, and then also to make a trip out to La Crosse, who's a really good team, and then make a trip out to Billings and play Rocky. So it's going to be a very challenging schedule, and especially early in the year, we have 4 out of 5 away games, and I think, as you said, the conference, I think everybody's going to get better in the conference. It is fortunate we can still play Jamestown College and play them the first game of the year and do that, but it is going going to be different, and it's going to be a challenge. But I think I like that our guys are a veteran group of guys. We've got a lot of seniors, and that's going to play in big, and really having to show that maturity here at the first part of the season, going on the road a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. You can check out that full schedule at dsubluehawks.com. Tickets in the coming weeks going on sale, so make sure you check that out at the DSU Heritage Foundation. Looking back at the year that was for all athletics, 5 conference championships, a lot of success on the field, court, whatever it may be.
Mm-hmm. Oh, most definitely. You start in the fall, and our cross country team is, both the men and the women, won championships, and Coach Whitcup was named, Coach of the Year. And football, we were fortunate to win our 3rd consecutive conference championship, and be defeating Dakota State, winning a close game, and having a really good year there in the fall. And then our golf team went in the fall and got to actually have a home meet and have the conference meet in the fall, and then of course finished up in the spring as well again. And then as you get into into our winter sports, our men's basketball team was just a few plays away from being in the national tournament. And I think Coach Vaughn did a great job with those guys after taking over only a week before things started, and did a great job there. And our women's basketball is just tough for the women's basketball team this year. They worked hard, but to have a whole brand new team, and try to recruit them in June. It was tough, but we're encouraging just to see the ladies that Coach Lewis has already signed for this next year. And then of course with wrestling, we moved to the Heart of America region in wrestling, and we got 3rd there. And with Chris Jones being an All-American, that was obviously a highlight for our men's team. And then indoor track and field, our men won another conference championship, and our women we're very close. And then as you go into the spring, we finished up with golf and again and baseball. We're really proud of what baseball did, considering it was our last year, and they really hung with it and played hard and won some big games, and we're close to some of the top teams in our conference a couple times, and did a great job there. And the track and field team, has their conference championships this week. I think the men haven't lost a conference championship they've been a part of in about 15 or 16 years, somewhere in there. So they're there, and our women have a chance to win another one. And of course with our softball team and what they did this last weekend, and really gutting it out and having to beat Jamestown twice, and it was really exciting to watch for them to get a 1-0 win. So we're just really happy with how the year went, and just really happy overall too, with not just with what we did on the field, but off the field as well. The hundreds of hours that our athletes have put in for community service type of things, and achieving a 3.0 cumulative GPA last spring and last fall. We're just really proud of what our student athletes are doing in the community as well.
Yeah, I was gonna maybe mention that too. We have a lot of NAIA All-Americans, all conference on the scholastic side, and so I know we had that big event in the gym after halftime of that basketball game. What does that say for our school, for kind of our conference, about how many athletes we have that are great athletes and great students?
Yeah, it's a true student athlete here, and I think the credit goes to obviously the students first. That they make that a priority to do well in the classroom, and then obviously to our faculty and staff who push them and work with them. And you see faculty and staff members in the bleachers watching the game and supporting our students when they might have to be out of class, and they work with our student athletes on that part of it. And I think that I think the emphasis of our coaches to make it an emphasis, whether it's study tables and grade checks and really staying on top of them, and our coaches knowing that the most important thing that our student athletes can do, the most important day of their career, is their graduation date. And I think that makes a big difference. The athletics part of it's great, the championships are great, but the ultimate goal for every athlete that we have come to Dickinson State is that degree. And I think it's a community effort, and it's fun to watch.
Yeah, this past weekend, the athletic department awarded the female and male athlete of the year. The Lorraine Shoemaker female athlete of the year going to Rachel Dillon of Billings, and then the Harry Weinberg male athlete of the year going to 2 football players, Dylan Scabo and Thomas Cease. Talk a little bit about those two and their work ethic over the last 4 years.
Yeah. I mean, just 2 guys. If you go back to that student athlete part first, a guy that has, and Tommy that has a 3.87 cumulative GPA, and Dylan having a 3.91 GPA. So not only do one sport in college, which is tough, but then to do 2 sports and and achieve at such a high level in the academic side. It was awesome. And then, Dylan first, with what he accomplished, as a football player. We didn't redshirt him his first year. He was behind a pretty good core of receivers. We had him be the returner, made a lot of huge plays in his career. This year alone, I can think of 2 games where we were into the wind and the field position didn't look like it was going to be very good. And he had 2 huge returns. I think one was against Presentation, I think maybe against Valley City, the other one. But, he had a couple big things there. He's a 2-time all-conference guy, a 4-year starter in baseball, started every game for us for 4 years. And then, of course, Tommy as well. What can you say there? He broke our all-time leading record for tackles. To be a first-team All-American is very rare, and we've been fortunate to have a couple in the last 3 years. And to do that, plus to do the track and field and be a 2-time qualifier for nationals. And, they're the true student athletes and just really tremendous guys that we're going to miss. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we talk with a lot of student athletes on the show, and a lot of them are those 2-sport athletes. What does that say about the coaches, the programs, and those students being able to balance both? I
think we're on the same page. I think we want what's best for the students. To me, and I'm talking specifically on the football side because I do that part of it. To me, I like our guys. We have 16 or 17 guys that are in track. I like in Dylan and baseball, our guys competing. Spring ball is great and we want to get better, but I think we want our guys competing and we want them to do other things besides football. Several of you are involved with Fellowship of Christian Athletes or in a play or their jobs or whatever it is, and we want them to have that total experience. And I think all of our coaching staff is on the same page on that. And that's just getting to be a rarer and rarer thing that in many colleges don't want to have students doing a couple different things. They want that student all to themselves, and that's unfortunate. And if you look at our men's track team, and you look at the guys that are performing very well there, and the women that are performing very well there on the team, they're many of them are in another sport.
Yeah, awesome. Well, looking forward to this summer and into next year. Any goals you're setting for the athletic department moving forward?
Well, I think one of the big goals obviously is to still get we got that local support, which has been unbelievable, the support that we get from the Dickinson area and the surrounding area. And I think one of the biggest goals that I have, with the athletic department is really outreaching to our alums, to get our alumni involved more in what we're doing and what we have going on campus. There's so many, our tradition in so many of the sports is great. And obviously with this being a centennial year, it works out pretty well that way. But that's, probably one of the biggest goals is to get, our alumni involved and get more people nationwide and involved. And we have that strong core here and the strong core athletes here and supporters. But I think that's a big goal. I think a second one is, as far as with the athletes themselves, is to give them more things on campus, get our athletic council going, have them communicate more with our teachers and those type of things. I think those are a couple things that we want to do. And then the other thing is helping with our assistant coaches. That's a big goal of ours too, is we have, a core of head coaches that have done a great job and done all those things. And I think now to help, get more assistant coaches involved in the programs to help us give more support there. Those are 3 of the things that I can think of.
Awesome. Well, best of luck, Coach, moving forward.
Thank you, Coach.
And thank you guys for doing this and the work that you guys have done. We really appreciate it.
Awesome. We'll be back talking with his boss, Dr. Mitzel, coming up after this.
Life is full of many successes, achievements, stages. Every year we grow, things change, and pretty soon we realize we want and need to do more. When you're ready for that next step, Dickinson State University will get you there. Find out how at dsublue.com.
Welcome back to HawkTalk. We have a very well-known face with us for good reason on
Hopefully.
this morning. Yeah, Dr. Mitzel's here with us. Dr. Mitzel, I just have one question for you. I know it's a nice spring day out there, a nice sunny day, but this winter we had a few nasty days, and I think the people out in the community or DSU community would like to know, why didn't we get more snow days?
I had this individual who continued to send me tweets about wanting snow days. My reply, as it will be next year, is we have you for a very short 4 years. And for me to take away that potential academic day would just make me feel horrible.
Wow. I guess that's okay.
Yeah.
I wonder who that individual is, though.
Yeah.
I don't know, but he was persistent.
Yeah, well, you mentioned, those 4 years. We got some seniors leaving us this Saturday, 4 or 5, however many years they were here. I'm sure they enjoyed their time, but, how's this a special moment for you and the administration moving into the summer?
This, for me, is one of my most fun times of the year. And for graduates, I think it can be exhilarating as well as extremely sad. You're leaving your friends, you're doing things. Having now been on the other side of this for more years than I care to articulate, you come back to your friends, you come back to the campus, you come back to all those areas. So for me, to watch the graduates walk across the stage, receive the diploma, I know I'm going to see them again. I know they're always going to be part of the Blue Hawk family. Mm-hmm. So I don't get very sad. To me, it's a very fun day because I know these students are now embarking upon their adult careers, and this was the launching pad. And if we've done our job correctly, which given the faculty and staff we have, I'm sure we always do, you're going to be very successful.
Yeah. Parker, you're one of those graduates. You're going on the stage this weekend. What does it feel like for you, kind of capping off your career as a Blue Hawk?
Yeah, I'm going to agree that, it's probably the most fun time of the year. It seems like there's free food about every other day at some events.
Right.
But, seeing the end of the year presentations, seeing those emails about outstanding graduates and all those different people that, have succeeded and have went above and beyond what professors and, their advisors have asked of them. It's a really special moment, and have it all culminate like that, and to be around friends and family and all that sort of stuff. It's a great time of the year.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. And then moving into the summer, we just keep the celebration rolling.
Yeah.
Centennial coming up,
Yeah.
All class reunion. What are you looking forward to in that event and moving in?
Well, first, it's humbling to be here during a centennial year, and how special is that occasion? Mm-hmm. What we've been trying to state is that it is not just a celebration for DSU, but a celebration for the entire region. Without the region, you don't have a strong DSU, and vice versa. What I can say is the city and all the different entities within the city and within the Stark County really have been wonderful and have been partnering with us to make sure that our events from the different entities build upon each other rather than compete with each other. And the 28th through the 30th is going to be probably two of the most fun-filled days Dickinson has seen in a long time. So you both need to be here for that. But we're hoping to get multiple thousands of people coming back. And we have events on the campus, some academic, some social, some more social. We have plenty of events down in the city itself. The First on First, Thursday the 28th, I believe is the date is dedicated to DSU. Close off the entirety of downtown Dickinson and celebrate who we are and what we've done. Yeah. And then we move some things to campus. We invite the city and the county and whoever wants to be a part of that. So it's a very special moment to recognize both the history of what has happened. If you walk around campus, you'll see a lot of history about some of the early employees, some of the early leaders at the institution. And had they gone in a different pathway, would be an extremely different institution. And I'm extremely satisfied to know they went in the direction they did. But it was a lot of fun, but also the gravity of the situation, the fact that this institution has made it 100 years and hopefully has another 100 or 200 years to go. It's a very monumentous occasion.
Yeah, you talked about going downtown and the community down there. We have the Elks building, where it really all began for DSU. So I'm sure that'll be a special moment. But, talk about how much that event will mean to community support and seeing that all come out, and what does that mean for DSU?
Well, the community here has always been so supportive. And in fact, they did hold classes from, I believe it was 1918 to 1922 in the old Elks building downtown. There was a winter in the 50s when the snow had gotten so bad, students were unable to walk down to the train station. So the community rallied, brought vehicles, horse-drawn sleighs, everything they could to make sure that the students were able to get home for their winter celebrations and all of the different holidays. And you always see that we're not a city, or we're not an institution within the city. We are an institution of the city and an institution for the city. Very few communities have that type of relationship. and we need to make sure we're celebrating that aspect. So I think for the entirety of the community members, I'm hoping they're as proud as are we to be at 100 years. And I'm hoping that they will want to take part in all of the festivities, as do we. And we want for everybody to be a part of this celebration because everybody's earned it.
Right, and as we move into those next 100 years, the buildings need a few upgrades, needed that. Sure. Talk a little bit about the process of what's going on campus and to upgrade some of those buildings.
Well, that's a leading question, Parker, because you've been a large part of all that, and I want to thank you. The Student Center was built with student fees. All of it was built with student fees. And I think over the course of the years, it's become more of an administration building than a student center building. And one of the things we wanted to do is to change it back. And who best to help lead that than the students? And it began with in your sophomore year. Yeah. And Parker's been working with us almost every day on certain items. We took a old dilapidated workout room and turned it into the Blue Hawk Hub, which has a pub style, non-alcoholic for those of you watching. We are revamping our food service to go to a 24-hour-a-day, 7-day-a-week experience. Within that food service area, we will have computer study areas, we'll have game rooms. What we want is for that to become a true destination. We began very early talks about e-gaming, which would also be located in the student center. And our bookstore has become much more student-focused. And we're going to move that more toward the front of the student center, which was a suggestion we'd received. All of that is taking place kind of together. So it's going to be a very busy, somewhat disruptive summer in terms of where you can get and what you can do, but hopefully we have it all stitched back together by the fall. So when that group of students come in, they see all the new and amusing, and for students who are returning, you get to say, oh, this is great. And we are renovating Woods Hall. It'll be a very modern dorm. There will be some suite style housing on first floor, but we've also made it much more ADA compatible. We want to make sure that we are inviting to students of whomever, wherever they are coming, and that they have a place where they can stay and feel very safe. We're renovating all of May Hall, which was the first administrative academic building. The basketball court used to be located in Stickney Auditorium. As Parker said, some of the buildings need a facelift. Most of May Hall will be empty this summer as we look to renovate that and get that back up to where it needs to be. And you continually do this. They always ask administrators, what do you do in the summer? The summer becomes, in many ways, our busiest season. Wow. That's the one time when students have gone home. We aren't going to disrupt your lives, which we never want to do. And so we try to put as much into that 3 months as we can.
Yeah, absolutely. And you mentioned, moving forward, also looking at, last one, really struggling here. On the show we talk a lot about athletics. Talk a little bit about what you used to compete yourself, about the success you've seen in that department.
Our athletics department went through some hardships last year. As you all know, we had to remove 2 sports to help meet the budget guidelines, baseball and golf. Golf has been able to go out in the community, was able to help fundraise for at least 3 years, and hopefully in perpetuity, which has been wonderful. So we did not actually lose our golf program. It is being funded from outside sources. Baseball, unfortunately, we were unable to fundraise the needed amount. And I will say that there were 13 students who finished the baseball season this year, in the last baseball season for now, and I've never been so proud of a group of 13 as I was them. And don't get me wrong, I'm proud of the golf team, I'm proud of the football team, but the nature by which they stuck together, played their hearts out, and won the respect of the entirety of the North Star Athletic Association, as well as the Dickinson community. Removing a sport's always one of the hardest decisions you're ever going to make, and I'm sure there are plenty of baseball players out there who are still very mad at me, and as well they probably should. But I was extremely proud to watch them play and to see them step up and do what they did. It was amazing. Outside of that, the reason we removed 2 sports rather than cut sports across the board is we did not want to harm every sport. We did not want to become an institution where we could not be competitive. And I think this year showed that we were able to remain competitive with the remaining sports. Football went postseason. Track and field is sending 8 to 10 athletes. Our women's softball just competed or just qualified for postseason. Men's basketball was 1 game away. Wrestling sent 8 wrestlers. we've been extremely competitive. I will tell you though, with athletics, what makes me the most proud is last year across campus we had a 3.0 average GPA. And that in and of itself doesn't mean much. You can kind of set your GPA where you like, and I think Dickinson actually grades fairly tough. A B average, straight B average is considered a little lower. That means your professors are being harsher on you. But where I'm extremely proud is our athletes also had a 3.0 GPA. So our coaches and our faculty are not allowing the academics to slip for the athletics. So you're true scholar athletes at DSU, and to me that is the most important thing.
I think, just like these past couple of days, I've felt a buzz around DSU. You know, people are out and about. People are laying out in the lawn. I don't think I've seen that since maybe my freshman year, and I don't even know if I saw it much then. And so, it's just been really great to see how people are just really enveloping themselves into the DSU community. Freshmen are getting more involved in things, and I think that definitely has to do with you. So, moving ahead, or I guess reflecting on some of the things of the past, how is all this accumulation of stuff, how does that make you feel, and moving forward, what do you want to see?
I've been extremely happy to see the changes of the last couple of years, and DSU's had a very strong 100-year history. So whenever you take a position like this, you have the gravity of all of those years. You don't want to be the one who runs it off the rails. What I've been trying to push since my arrival, we already have very strong academics. We already have extremely strong athletics. What I wanted to push was that we're all in this together and that we're all a big community. One of the things I did not like so much when I arrived here is we only had 171 students staying on campus. We need to build that campus community again. We had students who, in the summer, that first summer I was here, the campus was mostly empty except for camps that were done, but not our own students. And I think one of the things of which I'm most happy is that community seems to be coming back together. And my first year here, we didn't have any community events on campus, or very few. And we've now gotten back on track with inviting the community on campus, where we have multiple thousands of people coming to enjoy themselves at DSU. And we are all one big family. It's much harder to learn in isolation. And it's much harder to enjoy your 4 years if all you have is the campus and you aren't able to take advantage of the surrounding community. But as a community member, to have a university in your city, you should also be able to take advantage of the musicals, the plays, the football games. All of that there is, you should be able to take advantage of those events. And I've seen that start to come together better. So hopefully we can keep on that track and just keep growing together.
Yeah, as DSU, continues to develop and grow and thrive as it should. I don't mean to put you on the spot here, but with the TR library and kind of some of the progress that's been made with that, what's your thoughts on that, and where do you see that going?
What I will speak to today is the Theodore Roosevelt Honors Leadership Program, which continues to get stronger and continues to grow, thanks in a large part to the Heritage Foundation for raising further scholarships. These are some of the brightest kids across the globe, not kids, young adults, I apologize. But really it's an international attraction for these students who do just incredible things. I could list off all of the honors program members' accomplishments this year, but we don't have quite a bit of time. We don't have the time for that. So we're steeped in Theodore Roosevelt, and 10 years ago the Theodore Roosevelt Center opened, and their goal was to do a presidential papers project and to digitize everything that was Theodore Roosevelt, one of the most prolific presidents we've had in the history of the United States. The man wrote 150,000 letters. Yeah. He published over 41 books. He was one of the most media savvy that we've seen, bar none. And in a very short period, when people did not think DSU could handle that project, they brought that to fruition and became internationally acclaimed. Yeah. This last year, we published the 50,000th document, which is no small feat. And thank you to the state legislators for helping to fund this. They've been gracious over the last 4 biennium, I think, to help us keep that center running at a very large pace, or a very high rate. The library has been changing and morphing. And truthfully, I don't know what will happen with the final museum portion or whatever they're going to call the library portion. My main goal right now is to integrate the center with the learning of our Theodore Roosevelt Honors Leadership Program, and to make sure that we have some of the strongest research within that area anywhere in the world. And to hire people, get our faculty surrounding in that area to begin doing more scholarship than we already are, to do internships in there. I would love to see our students picking through Roosevelt, finding new things. There's always, we get 4 or 5 books on Roosevelt coming out every year. And there's so much more to discover. And with that center, we can make that happen. And we will become the true intellectual core, as we already are. We'll retain that. And my goal is to make that stronger.
Yeah, kind of sticking on that academic side of things. Talk a little bit about this curriculum update to bring in more of those 2-year students and some of the different certificates that are possible.
The mission in the NDUS system, North Dakota University system, is to give education where it is needed, when it is needed. And the reality of DSU, being in the western part of North Dakota, is we are over 200 miles from the nearest 4-year institution. We are 100 miles from the nearest 2-year institution. And there's a large geography of students who we have to try to educate. And there are 2 pathways that I like to state. One is the master's degree is the fastest growing degree in the United States. And 2, North Dakota ranks #1 for the ability of its population to get a career job, not just a job, but a career job without a bachelor's degree. So we really have 2 different types of populations, and we have to make sure that we are educating anybody who wants to come onto campus. So what we already offer most of these. What we're trying to do is become stronger and gain a better foothold. But we need to offer more certificates. We're working with the police department to offer a police academy, which will be a 1-semester course, and they can go directly into the police force. Right now, in order for them to do the academy, they have to go all the way over to the eastern part of the state. Many of them get enticed to go into Minnesota because they get a higher salary, higher cost of living, but when you're young, you don't quite realize that aspect. So if we can keep our really strong recruits here, train them here, guarantee them a job when they graduate from that program, it's what we call workforce strengthening. And we have such a strong level of industry here and energy that if we can train employees for those areas here, working with the industries, working with the different energy areas, then we make for a much stronger western part of North Dakota. On the same side, there are a number of people who want to go for master's degrees. And right now, unless you're willing to move, you can't do that here. You just are unable to get a master's degree at DSU except for one area right now, and we need to change that as well. Because again, geographically, we're very isolated. I think I said geologically before, so by time. But so we need to be able to ensure that we are strong enough to do that. And it does not change our mission. We remain a 4-year liberal arts public institution, but we can strengthen the education we give by branching out.
And now that we've put you on the spot, I think we've done this the last couple of times you've come on.
I'll let you do it.
As students, what questions do you have for us?
Well, Parker, you're graduating. So as you look upon your time here and what you've done, academically, athletically, internships, working for the foundation, what advice would you give to an incoming student?
I would cautiously say never say no. I mean, obviously, there's certain things you should turn away, but in the opportunities you get on campus, involved with different organizations, you're involved with FCA, Student Senate for myself, get involved in a club. It doesn't matter if you're semi-interested in it. It gets you in the door. It gets you to meet some people and build connections and friendships that are going to last your 4 years and beyond. So I think definitely get involved in something like that, and try new things. Get out, try a class you didn't think you'd enjoy. I took a pottery class. I'm like, I don't know how to do this, but I'm going to try it. And do that. It's about learning about yourself just as much about the curriculum, and it's learning about the ability to communicate with one another. We've talked about it in all of our class with Dr. Grabowski, and that ability to connect with one another and be a team member, because that's what the workplace is nowadays. Right. It's more about that often than the actual work itself.
And I'll follow up with, what are your thoughts of the upcoming Saturday and the events that are taking place, and what follows after?
I will be, walking across the stage, doing that, take some pictures, and maybe abiding at some establishments in the community, and that's what I'll leave it at.
We have a fair number of health restaurants.
Yeah. I'll leave it at that. That's good enough.
Well, Seth, you are closer to graduation than convocation.
Yeah, much closer.
How has your mindset changed?
That's funny you asked. The past couple weeks, my mind has definitely started to wrap around the idea that I will be graduating next December, and so yeah, just kind of trying to embrace, especially this next fall. I only have 12 credits to take, and so that's the lightest load I've had any semester. So I'm just looking forward to kind of embracing every opportunity that I can. Like Parker said, I think over the past 4 years, I've really tried to throw myself out into a lot of different things, but this next fall I'll have a lot of time to do a lot of different things, and so I want to embark on different adventures next fall, as little as those adventures might be or as big as they might take me. I want to see where life takes me.
Well, I know you've won several awards, many from your own student body, on leadership and guiding other groups and being that sort of guru to others and helping them find their pathway through higher education. And do you plan on continuing that next fall as well, just being that person?
Yeah, I think that's kind of just the characteristic of my life, or one of the things that just kind of is weighed upon my life, is that, in a good way, weighed upon my life, is I really like to lead people in any direction. I think as a leader, that's kind of the cross to bear in a good way as well, to just lead, whether it's just by your nature or in word or in action, just to lead people and show them different ways to go, whether it's adventuring into a new club or trying this sport, or going into the cafeteria and meeting new people. It's just as simple as that. I think that's something that I really like to do.
Well, having gotten to know both of you over the last 2.5 years, I can say if we can continue to bring in students at your caliber, and not just academically, but everything you do. You really have both involved yourself in the community. If we can continue to bring in students like you, we'll continue to be extremely successful. So I'd like to say thank you to both of you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Best of luck this summer with all the events going on.
Same to both of you.
Yeah, you can check all of that out at dsuheritagefoundation.org. We'll be back putting a wrap on athletics, everything else from this past year after this. Welcome back to Hawk Talk. Only a few days left in finals week here. As you look forward to your summer, what are your plans? Where are you headed?
Yeah, I'll be here through May, working at the foundation, working with you, working with Ty. Hopefully not doing too much laborious work. I'm usually the lawnmower over there, so we'll do that. But in June and July, I'm heading back to Gillette to work at my church there. I'm got a nice internship there. Going to go see my family. It'll be the first summer that I actually spend away from DSU, so it's kind of an interesting aspect. But really looking forward to. Got some off-season training going into the last season of football and the last semester of my college career, my undergraduate, I guess I should say. I don't know if I'll advance beyond that, but yeah, really looking forward to it. And what about you?
Yeah, unlike you, I've never spent a summer in Dickinson. I've always been away on another adventure, internship, whatever it may be. So I'll be back here working for the foundation, working for the Badlands Big Sticks. So make sure you come out, check out a game, or tune in on the radio. You might hear me. Just couldn't get away. Couldn't leave quite yet. So I'll just lean myself out of it this summer and enjoy it while we can.
That'll be good. Looking back, on this year, and then we'll get, on your whole career. What was your favorite highlight or your favorite moment from the sports realm this past, or maybe for favorite couple of moments? I know there was quite a few trips, quite a few pictures, quite a few games that you really got to take a part of.
Yeah, I mean, for myself, heading to Southern Oregon, despite the outcome, being around that community that I think we had 30 community members, parents, alumni, whatever it may be, tagged along on that trip. And it was great to meet some of them, get to know them, and enjoy that experience with them and see that side of, for me, football, set up in the VAC, you go do it, but see you guys out there operate on the road. It was good to see, and I think we'll be back, and hopefully we're hosting next year in the playoffs. But I think that was one of the big ones, and definitely men's basketball this past year was a special collection of seniors, and to see them fall just short, it almost breaks your heart. Terrell Butler, Ryan Clark, all those guys, they went off in the last game and just couldn't make it over the edge there. So, those are the two moments that kind of stood out for me. What about yourself?
Yeah, I would say that Southern Oregon game, I kind of a different aspect of both. I mean, we both went out there at the same time. So playing in that game was super cool. The environment was incredible. One of probably the prettiest places besides the BAC that I've played at, I'll say. But the trip was amazing, just to have all those fans, all the support on that plane ride with us. We were hooting and hollering the whole time, and then just to have fans there. I would say some of those basketball games, man, they were really intense. It seemed like we brought back some of my freshman, sophomore year fans type atmosphere where the people were just going rowdy. And I know that you had a big part in that. I remember looking over one game. You gave me the mic and said, "Here you go," and you ran over into the crowd and started yelling. And that was a really, really cool sight to see.
Yeah, being behind the mic and behind the camera this year really hindered my ability to yell at officials and opponents this year. So, but it worked out for the best, I think, and we had a good time doing it.
I guess
winding down.
Yeah, winding down. Looking, I guess I'll kind of reflect on my first year of doing this, and I'll let you close it with whatever you want to say. But looking back on this past year, I guess this past just semester is really all I've been a part of. It's been super cool to get to know how this whole HawkTalk show works and be able to invite people on, get to talk to them about different things, like taking a couple solo runs because of your golf. And so I'm thankful for the opportunity that you and Nate have always given me, whether it was the podcast or just talking sports or giving me this opportunity. So thank you for that. I'm really looking forward to the future.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks to all of you who have been watching. You can check out softballs on their way to the national tournament, dsubluehawk.com. We're awaiting the results from that of where they end up. Maybe Dodge City, Kansas, maybe Southern Oregon, which surprisingly are about the same distance away from Dickinson. So going over a mountain seems like a tougher task.
Right.
But yeah, just thank you to all of you guys. Make sure you keep being Blue Hawk supporters. Check out the DSU Heritage Foundation for all the centennial events. Yeah, thanks to Nate Easton for getting this thing started. It started 2 years ago, filming it on our phones from players, and it's growing a lot thanks to those people here at Consolidated. Ron running this show, Trace at all the games, DSU Heritage Foundation, and Ty for always backing us in whatever it may be, and those coaches and student athletes for being happy to come on and nervous at times, but they've always enjoyed it. So thanks to them. Thanks to you guys for watching, making this possible, and being supporters of us along the way. If you get bored this summer, they're all on YouTube. So if you really want to deep dive on some Blue Hawk athletics from the past, a little binge, Hawk Talk and chill, I guess.
Yeah, that's right.
But I'll be around. Make sure you reach out. And I guess one last time, Hawks are up.